Hello everyone, warm welcome to exaMnorM, your own YouTube channel for all regulatory bodies exam. My name is Madhav. I welcome you all in a very important session where we are going to start with the month that is February. याद रखना, the moment budget and economic survey is out, that is the beginning of your preparation in terms of current affairs for all the regulatory bodies exams. So if you are still thinking I have not studied the current affairs for the month of January or maybe December, nothing to worry. If you're starting today, then also you have a great chance to cover or to attempt most of the questions in the examination. But before we start, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go. Just give me a thumbs up so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. In today's session, I have many important news which can be asked directly or indirectly in your examination. So be with me till the end of this video. Along with that, I will be giving you few questions as a homework and we will be discussing MCQ of RBI Grade B level in each and every news which we are going to cover. आज का जो session है, in this particular session, I will be focusing majorly on those news which can be asked directly in the examination, क्योंकि अब वो time आ चुका है, as I promised, कि from February onwards we will be including the news such as general finance related news as well in our discussion. So if any question is asked, we will be in a position to answer it that as well. ठीक है, जो बजट से पहले मैंने एक वीडियो डाली थी, if you are looking for the PDF of that particular video, I will be sharing it once I complete this particular session. If you haven't shared the link of this session, I would request you guys quickly share the link of this session with your friends. I'm also doing the same, and do not forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, I would request you do join the channel, because in the near future we will be coming up with many more videos, many more initiatives which will help you in clearing your regulatory bodies examination. ठीक है जी, तो स्टार्ट करें बिना किसी देरी के. तो आइए जरा आज के सेशन की शुरुआत करते हैं. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर this session is going to be really very important for everyone. Chalo ji, let's get started. First of all, if I start with the discussion, if you remember previous session say I always come up with the revision questions, but unfortunately I have not included the revision questions today intentionally. That is an intentional step I have taken. The reason is many of the students, they haven't covered the January month, or they are starting with the February month today itself. So nothing to worry. Aaj new beginning, from new starting, we are going to initiate the discussion. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया. तो आइए जरा बिना किसी देरी के आज के सेशन की शुरुआत करते हैं. सबसे पहली जो न्यूज है, that is related to gold imports. We all know that over the period of time, due to the geopolitical scenarios, due to the I would say geopolitical issues which are prevailing at the global level, as well as the tariff war which is going on again at the global level, along with the weakening of global economy as well as weakening of advanced economies, we have witnessed that the prices of metals such as gold and silver, they have increased exponentially. And this increase is only because of one reason, if I conclude in a very simple terms, and that reason is whenever there is an uncertainty in the economy, the only thing on which you can rely is the physical holdings. And in case of physical holdings, gold and silver, they obviously plays a really very important role. Ab kya hota hai, whenever an Indian coming from a foreign nation to India, and whenever they enter the foreign nation, whenever they enter India from foreign nation and they are carrying gold, there are certain conditions. Earlier, those conditions were interlinked with volume, or I would say interlinked with weight as well as price. But this time, due to the immense increase in prices of gold and regular fluctuation of gold prices, government has taken up a step to ease out the process of custom clearance of the gold which they are carrying to India, and now it will be based only and only on the weight scenarios. What is this only and only on the weight scenario? What I'm trying to say, please pay attention. So gold occupies a unique position in the India's economy. We all know that in India, if we say India is one of the largest consumer of gold. I don't know whether you know this or not, but yes, India is one of the largest consumer of gold. And you must be wondering that yes, India is the largest consumer of gold because we, in our culture, because of our tradition, we use gold or we consume gold basically for the purpose of jewelry or ornaments. But you might feel little bit astonished that if I talk about jewelry and ornaments, its consumption out of the total consumption of gold is 22%, and rest 78% of gold which is consumed every year in India is consumed for the purpose of investment. Investment means today you purchase gold and you are holding the gold keeping in mind that in the near future the prices will increase and I'll sell it, and the moment you will sell it you will be earning a gain, and we call it as capital gain. I hope you all know that. But along with this format, government has also come up with a scheme which we called as gold monetization scheme, but it didn't perform really very well, and now gold ETFs have been introduced by the government in order to channelize the public investment in from physical gold to the digital gold, from physical gold to the paper gold or to the digital gold, where the actual physical gold possession is not required, but you can enjoy the benefits on fluctuation of prices in a similar manner as you were enjoying on the physical gold. समझ आई मेरी बात? Now, keeping this entire scenario in mind, and on the other side the geopolitical scenarios and other areas, India being one of the largest consumer of gold and the uncertainty in the market, the gold prices and silver prices, they are highly fluctuating on the global level. And due to this high fluctuation, if custom clearance is still given, if custom clearance on taking up or bringing up gold in India, it is still given on the value basis, that is going to be wrong. So keeping that in mind, government has eased out it and government has revised its conditions. What revision has been done by the government? Please pay attention. This is going to be very interesting. Direct question can be asked in the examination. So in India, why we are consuming or why we are the largest consumer of gold? So because in gold is a store of value, especially for Indian households. We have cultural assets, especially jewelry, and a major contributor to import is, if I talk about the major contributor to import is India, and if India is one of the major contributor or one of the major, I would say, consuming country in terms of gold, it impacts current account deficit. What is current account deficit? अब अगर आप gold ज़्यादा import करेंगे, that means your import bills are increasing. And we all know that your imports are greater than your exports. So this will widen up. This will increase the gap between import and export, due to which the current account deficit will increase. Along with this, if current account deficit is increasing, dependency on foreign currency is increasing. How? आप तो इंडिया में बैठ के डिमांड कर रहे हो कि सर आई वांट टू परचेज गोल्ड एंड यू आर पेइंग इन रुपीज टू परचेज द गोल्ड, बट in order to make that gold available to you, government is obviously importing that gold, and in order to import that gold, government is paying in dollars. So the dependency of government, dependency of importers on dollar is increasing. The demand on dollar is increasing just to import the gold, just to fulfill your demand. That will result in depreciation of Indian currency. And lastly, external sector stability. The next point is external sector stability. The more you have gold, you are stable on the world level. So it has two negative impacts as well as it has a positive impact as well. If I talk about what is a custom duty, custom duty basically means when you purchase or whenever, if I come up in this manner, just give me a minute, I'll just remove my image so that it will be pretty clear to you. So what is custom duty? So custom duty basically means when any good or service, whenever any good or service is entering in India, whenever any good or service is entering in India, at the entry, the tax is charged. We can also call it as entry tax, and that is known as custom duty. So custom duty is basically charged to balance the output which we would have received from the same product. For example, you are importing a car from European Union, and if you're importing a car, government will charge a custom duty, because if this car would have been manufactured in India, it have generated employment in India, it would have been added into the GDP of India. So in order to counter all these things, government charge a duty. We call it as a custom duty, and the same custom duty is charged on gold imports as well. Now, what is the condition? Duty free. Duty free means no tax, no custom duty is need to be paid. So duty free jewelry allowances which were allowed earlier, that were allowed on the basis of weight as well as cap. Weight limit was 20 grams for male passenger, or 50,000 is the value cap. Whichever is achieved early, that will be taken as a value, or that will be taken as a limit. Female के केस में it is 40 grams or 1 lakh rupees, and in case of children it is again 40 grams or 1 lakh rupees. But over the period of time, आज की डेट में 10 gram of gold is equals to 1.5 lakhs, and if you want to achieve the same limit of 40 grams, then in that particular case this is need to be 6 lakh rupees, and आज ये 6 है, maybe in near future it goes to 8, maybe in near future it goes to 12. So it will be a foundation on the government to change this value cap again and again, and there will be n number of issues prevailing on regular basis. So in order to overcome this, in order to counter price distortion, counter compliance challenges, counter incentive for invasion as well as policy mismatch, government has come up with the new rules where government has said we are removing the value cap on jewelry while retaining the weight limits. So there will be no value cap, there will be only weight limits. 40 grams for female, 20 grams, 40 grams from females, for females, and 20 grams for male passengers, and 40 grams for children below 15 years of age. Children means male or female, both will be included if their age is below 15 years. What is the eligibility? This is very important. Now many of you will be thinking, let's go to Dubai, and enjoy Habibi, and then while coming back we can purchase gold because gold is cheaper in Dubai, और यहाँ आकर इंडिया में we will enjoy the benefit, और जितना हमारा खर्चा होगा we can counter it. It's not the case. If you are going for a short trip, then you are not included under this particular exemption. It will be applicable firstly to Indian residents or persons of Indian origin. The person must have resided abroad for more than 1 year, then only he or she is eligible. Jewelry must be a part of your bona fide, your declared baggage. So women now can bring jewelry up to 6 lakhs and men can bring up to 3 lakhs. It's just for your reference, but obviously no value cap, only and only we have the weight cap, which you need to remember. What is the objective? सबसे पहला objective है administrative simplicity, because in case of custom department and in case of their checking, in case of their scrutiny, it makes them very difficult. They have to take the calculator every time, कितनी jewelry है, multiply करो, आज का price कितना है, 22 carat price कितना है. They keep on doing this calculation. So in order to help them to avoid this kind of calculation, rather to help them to come up with a more efficient operation, efficient services, so it has been said कि भैया अब हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता प्राइस क्या है, you just check the weight which is easy to calculate, weight check करो, पास कर दो. पॉलिसी रियलिज्म की बात करें, इट एक्नॉलेजेस द मार्केट ड्रिवन गोल्ड प्राइसेस. कंप्लायंस ओरिएंटेड की बात करें, ये इनकरेज करेगा लीगल declarations, and it will be coming up with ease of living, and there's a for a sensitivity that means Indian citizens can now easily and comfortably carry the gold up to a given limit. So passenger who is arriving in India after 1 year, stay in abroad, declares the jewelry at custom, weight of the jewelry will be done. If within the prescribed limit, then in that particular case it will be duty-free clearance which is going to be granted. Duty-free clearance which is going to be granted. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गई बात, समझ आ गया. I hope each and every point is correct. Now I have a question for you. My question is, what is the custom duty on gold imports? अगर हम गोल्ड इंपोर्ट्स पे कस्टम ड्यूटी की बात करें, व्हाट इज इट? यहां तो आपको फ्री मिल गया. मान लो कि आपके पास जो ज्वेलरी है दैट इज ऑफ वेट मोर देन 40 grams and still you are carrying it. In that particular case, what will be the custom duty charge? Any idea, guys? Any idea? Custom duty on gold imports? Anyone? And that too not only on gold import. That will be a wrong question over here. That the correct answer or the correct question should be gold jewelry. Any idea? Anyone? If you don't know, I'll let you know. That is 6%. It is 6%. The import duty on gold in India is generally 6% in general, and on that 6% there are additional fees like cess as well as GST. So after including everything, it goes around up to 9%. So in general है 6%. उसके बाद GST and cess को जब आप add करेंगे, that will reflect effectively around 9%. It's up to 9%. ठीक है जी. Now let's try to solve a question. With reference to the baggage rules 2026 relating to jewelry, consider the following statement. The new rules remove the value-based cap on duty-free gold jewelry while retaining the weight-based limits. That is correct. The reform applies uniformly to all international passengers irrespective of duration of stay. No, sir, there is a duration of stay included, that is 1 year. Removal of value caps reduces custom valuation disputes and administrative discretion. That is correct. The reform reflects a shift from price-based regulation to quantity-based regulation. True. Jewelry brought beyond the prescribed weight limits is prohibited. नहीं सर, कुछ prohibited नहीं है. आप आओ, custom duty pay करो, घर ले जाओ, कोई problem नहीं है. So keeping that in mind, 1, 3 and 4 is the correct answer. So answer to this particular question will be 1, 3 and 4. समझ आ गई कहानी? Clear हो गई बात? If anything is still not clear, you may ask please. If anything is still not clear, you may ask please. इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस आपके हर एग्जामिनेशन में पूछे जाने के चांसेस हैं. अगर मैं कहूं कि आरबीआई में डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन पूछे जाने के चांसेस कम है ऐसा, लेकिन when you will be writing a descriptive answer, while the initiatives taken by government to cope up with the current scenarios, there could be a format where जहां पे आप ये यूज कर सकते हैं, where government is trying to increase its efficiency. Clear? मजा आया? If it is clear, give me a thumbs up. Guys, if it is clear, give me a thumbs up. चलो अगले क्वेश्चन की ओर बढ़ते हैं. अगली जो हमारी न्यूज है, दैट इज अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. द नेक्स्ट न्यूज आई हैव इज रिलेटेड टू, लेट्स चेक आउट द न्यूज. द न्यूज इज रिलेटेड टू व्हाट इज, इट इज रिलेटेड टू क्रेडिट डिपॉजिट रेशियो. मैं बात करूंगा इस न्यूज के बारे में, बट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक्स. कस्टम ड्यूटी का मतलब है टैक्स, सिंपल भाषा में टैक्स विच इज चार्ज ऑन द एंट्री ऑफ गुड्स and services, on the entry of goods and services, and even on the exit of goods and services. So whenever government witnesses there is an entry of goods and services or exit of goods and services from the country or in the country, then government charges a tax, and that tax is known as custom duty. ठीक है, सिंपल भाषा में ये आंसर है. ठीक है. So what I'm trying to talk about is, sir, in case of the current scenario, keeping in mind the current scenario where gold prices are all-time high, where silver prices are all-time high. Not only this, India's real estate has witnessed a great boom in the last few years, and along with that, if I exclude the last 6-7 months or maybe 9 months, India's stock market has also witnessed great returns for the investors. So keeping this in mind, then obviously it's a scenario that if I am an individual who is having the funds, I will try to invest my funds rather than depositing. सही है ना? I will try to invest the funds rather than depositing, because I know deposit पे जो rate of interest मिलेगा that is pretty low. But अगर मैं invest करूंगा, my gain or my expected returns may increase. On the other side, if I am an individual with funds but I want to invest more, what I will do, sir, I will even go to bank. I'll even borrow the funds from the bank, and I will be utilizing those funds with the purpose of investment so that I can boost up my investment returns. अब इसको अगर हम देखें, इस थॉट को अगर हम समझें, तो इस थॉट से एक बात क्लियर हो रही है कि ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम द borrowings from the bank is increasing, but on the other side the deposits which are kept by the public in the banks is decreasing. Logic बड़ा simple है. Logic क्या है? Sir, deposit पे return कम है in comparison to the I would say average return we are receiving on the investment in the market. So it's better to invest in the market rather than, it is better to invest in the market rather than going for deposits with the bank. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हुआ यहाँ तक? कोई दिक्कत नहीं. अब अगला पॉइंट ये है कि सर द फर्स्ट टर्म आई हैव इज क्रेडिट डिपॉजिट रेशियो. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव हर्ड दिस टर्म क्रेडिट डिपॉजिट रेशियो? याद रखना, ये जो क्रेडिट डिपॉजिट रेशियो है दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, क्योंकि इस क्रेडिट डिपॉजिट रेशियो की अंडरस्टैंडिंग अगर आपके पास है, देन यू विल बी इन अ पोजीशन टू अंडरस्टैंड द करंट स्ट्रक्चर, द करंट सिनेरियो ऑफ द बैंकिंग सेक्टर. तो सबसे पहले अगर मैं पॉइंट पे बात करूं, द फर्स्ट पॉइंट आई हैव फॉर यू ऑल इज दैट इज क्रेडिट डिपॉजिट रेशियो. The first point I have for you all is that is credit deposit ratio. If the question is asked that, sir, how you define the term credit deposit ratio, as the name suggests, so it is the ratio of total credit and total deposit. But what credit, what deposit, क्या बात करना चाह रहे हैं, तो please pay attention. So this is basically a ratio of total credit and total deposit. Now this total credit can be of all the scheduled commercial banks, तो उसे हम बोल देंगे credit deposit ratio of scheduled commercial banks. If I say total credit and total deposit of all the scheduled banks, then I'll say credit deposit ratio of scheduled banks of the country. In this manner, we can go with it. ठीक है जी? Now, this reflects the bank's intermediation efficiency. Intermediation efficiency का मतलब क्या, कि अगर बैंक का रेशियो है, डिपॉजिट है, लेट्स से 200 and credit is 100, so this is going to be around 50%, है ना? This is going to be 50%. A 50% का मतलब the bank is not efficient, because bank's major target is what? So bank's major target is to utilize this deposit in a right direction, where bank should try to utilize the deposit in the form of loan. It should be given in the form of loan. But अगर बैंक ऐसा नहीं कर पा रहा, तो कहीं ना कहीं बैंक अपने लेवल पे एफिशिएंसी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से उस एफिशिएंट फॉर्मेट पे काम नहीं कर पा रहा. दूसरा है, इट्स अ प्रॉक्सी फॉर सिस्टमैटिक लिक्विडिटी कंडीशंस. Systematic liquidity conditions का मतलब, you have given a credit of 100, you have a deposit of 200. That means you have adequate amount of liquidity with you, and if you are a bank and you have adequate amount of liquidity with you, that means you can manage the liquidity issues in the near future quite easily. If the credit deposit ratio is high, it implies aggressive credit deployment and tighter liquidity buffers. Historically, India's banking system has operated with a credit deposit ratio in a range 70 to 75%, which balances the growth as well as safety. कैसे? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर आपने 70 रुपए लोन पे दिए, 100 रुपए का आपके पास डिपॉजिट था, तो स्टिल यू हैव अ 30 रुपीज ऑफ लिक्विडिटी विच कैन हेल्प यू टू मैनेज द लिक्विडिटी क्राइटेरियाज. But as of 15th of January 2026, which data has been released on 1st of February 2026, it says that India's credit to deposit ratio has changed from the historical levels of 70 to 75%, and it has increased to 82.2%. What is the reason? As I said, reason is very simple. So total credit is increasing because we know we can borrow, because this is a situation where we can borrow, invest and earn profits. So total credit is increasing. On the other side, rather than depositing the funds with the bank, we are trying to invest our funds, because of which total deposit is decreasing. तो एक साइड डिपॉजिट कम हो रहा है, क्रेडिट बढ़ रहा है, तो ऑब्वियसली ये जो रेशियो है, ये जो परसेंटेज है, इट विल इंक्रीज टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल व्हिच हैज बीन विटनेस्ड. This increase occurred despite a sequential decline in both credit and deposit. But सर ये कह रहा है कि अगर मैं पिछले सालों से कंपेयर करूं, तो जो टोटल क्रेडिट और डिपॉजिट वैल्यूज है उनमें डिक्लाइन हुआ है, बट जो डिक्लाइन हुआ है वो डिपॉजिट में ज्यादा हुआ इन कंपैरिजन टू क्रेडिट, जिसकी वजह से द रेशियो हैज नॉट चेंज्ड मच. तो बैंक का आज की डेट में जो टोटल क्रेडिट है, दैट इज 201 लाख करोड़ रुपीस, एंड टोटल डिपॉजिट इज अराउंड 245 लाख करोड़ रुपीस. अगर हम बात करें डिपॉजिट्स में, एज यू कैन सी क्लियरली, डिपॉजिट हैज डिक्रीज बाय 3.6 लाख करोड़, बट क्रेडिट हैज डिक्रीज बाय ओनली 1.9 लाख करोड़. तो जैसा कि मैंने कहा, अगर क्रेडिट बढ़ा नहीं, कम ही हो रहा है, तो ये कम हुआ है. लेकिन अगर मैं डिपॉजिट की बात करूं, ये ज्यादा कम हुआ है, जिसकी वजह से ये जो रेशियो की वैल्यू है वो कम नहीं हुई जितना एक्सपेक्ट किया जा रहा था, जितना फॉर्मेट पे सोचा जा रहा था. अगला पॉइंट ये आता है, सर ये जो क्रेडिट ग्रोथ है, what is the structural drivers which are behind the elevated credit deposit ratio? So credit growth is still strong and it is broad based, means in terms of credit expansion, we have witnessed a good credit expansion in terms of retail loans, MSME credit, higher lending to NBFCs, infrastructure financing and whatnot. But on the other side, if I talk about deposits, the deposit mobilization has emerged as a core stress point for the banks. Why it is a stress point for the banks? Please pay attention. So there is a shift in household saving from bank deposits. Households, they are saving in mutual funds or small saving schemes where they can enjoy tax benefits or market linked instruments. Rate cut transmission, declining deposit rate reduce attractiveness of time deposit, means RBI ने repo rate कम किया, उससे लेंडिंग रेट तो कम हो गया, बट उस लेंडिंग रेट को मैनेज करने के लिए बैंक विल डिक्रीज इट्स डिपॉजिट रेट ऑल्सो, देन ओनली बैंक विल मेंटेन द नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन। तो उसे मेंटेन करने के लिए द मूवमेंट बैंक डिक्रीजेस द डिपॉजिट रेट, पब्लिक कहती है हटाओ यार, बैंक में पैसा रख के फायदा क्या, रिटर्न तो ज्यादा मिलेगा नहीं। बल्क डिपॉजिट रीएलोकेशन, मूवमेंट टुवर्ड शॉर्ट टर्म बॉन्ड मार्केट अमिड हायर यील्ड्स। तो अब आज की डेट में जो बल्क डिपॉजिट्स है वो भी कम हो गया। बल्क डिपॉजिट की अगर आप मुझसे पूछेंगे हाउ आई डिफाइन बल्क डिपॉजिट, बल्क डिपॉजिट का मतलब है डिपॉजिट ऑफ वैल्यू ग्रेटर देन 3 करोड़। अगर आपका डिपॉजिट वैल्यू 3 करोड़ से ज्यादा, इट विल बी टर्म्ड एज बल्क डिपॉजिट इन केस ऑफ शेड्यूल्ड कमर्शियल बैंक एक्सेप्ट आरआरबीज एज वेल एज स्मॉल फाइनेंस बैंक्स। ठीक है जी। बट अगर आप मुझसे पूछेंगे व्हाट अबाउट आरआरबीज, इन केस ऑफ आरआरबीज if your deposit is more than 1 crore, it will be declared as bulk deposit. In case of urban cooperative banks, if your deposit is greater than 1 crore and you are talking about tier 3 and tier 4 cooperative bank, then it is fine. If you are talking about tier 1 and tier 2, then in that particular case 15 lakh rupees is the condition. अगर आपका डिपॉजिट 15 लाख या उससे कम है, 15 लाख या उससे ज्यादा, इट विल बी डिक्लेयर्ड एज बल्क डिपॉजिट। बल्क डिपॉजिट से बोलने से फायदा क्या सर, एक तो बल्क डिपॉजिट पे बैंक इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा देता है, दूसरा बल्क डिपॉजिट के केस में बैंक इंटरेस्ट ज्यादा देता है, लेकिन एक कंडीशन और है कि बल्क डिपॉजिट को आप इंस्टेंटली विड्रॉ नहीं कर सकते। इफ यू हैव अ बल्क डिपॉजिट एंड यू रीच टू द बैंक टू विड्रॉ, देन इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस बैंक में आस्क फॉर अ ग्रेस पीरियड, बैंक में आस्क फॉर अ ग्रेस पीरियड एंड की 7 डेज 3 डेज उसके बाद पेमेंट होगी। कुछ बल्क डिपॉजिट्स हैं जो कि 5 करोड़ से बड़े हैं, उन 5 करोड़ से बड़े बल्क डिपॉजिट पे बैंक इवन हैज अ पावर टू गेट अ साइंड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फ्रॉम द कस्टमर। कस्टमर से एक साइंड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कराया जाता है कि यू विल नॉट बी कॉलिंग योर डिपॉजिट्स बिफोर मैच्योरिटी, दैट इज ऑल्सो अलाउड बाय आरबीआई। ठीक है जी दीपक, एक बार आप चेक करना, आई हैव गिवन द राइट डेटा, आई हैव नो डाउट इन दिस। लिक्विडिटी एब्जॉर्प्शन elsewhere, so elevated government borrowings and competing financial assets has resulted in consumption of liquidity. For example, government is issuing its government securities to public with the help of retail investment regimes which are allowed to the public. They are utilizing their funds to invest in government securities rather than keeping them as a deposit. The next point is loan bias increasing. So credit to total asset ratio is at 73.4%, which means अगर बैंक का जो क्रेडिट है डिवाइडेड बाय बैंक की जो टोटल एसेट है उसका जो रेशियो है दैट इज 73.4%, व्हिच इंडिकेट्स बैंक्स दे आर प्रायोरिटाइजिंग लोन ग्रोथ ओवर इन्वेस्टमेंट। तो इसका मतलब बैंक अपनी जो असेट्स है उस असेट में मेजॉरिटी हिस्सा उनके पास क्या है, क्रेडिट का ही है। दे आर नॉट इन्वेस्टिंग द फंड्स, दे आर प्रायोरिटाइजिंग क्रेडिट रादर देन इन्वेस्टमेंट। गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी एक्सपोजर फॉलोइंग गवर्नमेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट टू असेट रेशियो, गवर्नमेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट टू असेट रेशियो इज ओनली 24.8%. Government investment to asset ratio is only 24.8% in case of the banking sector. These are some of the figures which you need to remember. मैंने कुछ गलत बोल दिया क्या? जब हम बात करते हैं अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स की, तो इन केस ऑफ अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स वी हैव divided the urban cooperative banks in 4 tiers. We have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. अगर मुझसे कोई पूछता है कि what is tier 1 urban cooperative bank, so that is tier 1 urban cooperative bank is a cooperative bank with deposits greater than 100 crores, sorry, up to 100 crores. Tier 2 is 100 to 1000 crores, tier 3 is 1000 to 10,000 crores and tier 4 is greater than 10,000 crores. तो अगर आप उसे चेक करेंगे उसके हिसाब से मुझे लगता है कि मैंने फिगर सही दी है। 3 और 4 के लिए 1 करोड़ और छोटे वाले के लिए 15 लाख। सही तो है, सही तो है। थोड़ा सा एक बार चेक कर लो बिफोर राइटिंग अ क्वेश्चन इन दी कमेंट सेक्शन। मैं हर क्वेश्चन को आंसर कर रहा हूँ, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कुछ भी पूछोगे, थोड़ा सा एफर्ट लगाओ, इट विल बी क्लियर टू यू। अगले पॉइंट पे अगर हम बढ़े कि आज की डेट में जो लिक्विडिटी कंडीशंस है मार्केट में वो कैसी है। द वेटेड एवरेज कॉल रेट, आई होप आपको पता होगा व्हाट इज वेटेड एवरेज कॉल रेट। वेटेड एवरेज कॉल रेट इज द रेट एट विच, और आई वुड से द वेटेड एवरेज रेट एट विच द कॉल मार्केट or call money market is operating. And what is call money market? Call money market is a place where short term lending and borrowing is done within the bank, ignoring the involvement of RBI. Ignoring the involvement of RBI. ठीक? For monetary policy transmission, high credit to debt ratio weakens the bank's ability to transmit the rate cuts. अगर आपका credit to deposit ratio बहुत ज्यादा, इसका मतलब अगर आपने 100 रुपए का डिपॉजिट है उस पर आपने ऑलरेडी 90 रुपीज का लोन दे रखा है, तो इसमें अगर आपका डिपॉजिट थोड़ा बहुत इंक्रीज भी होगा तो आप क्रेडिट ज्यादा नहीं दे पाएंगे तो जो आप चेंज करना चाह रहे हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ लेंडिंग रेट, दैट वुड नॉट बी अप टू द मार्क विच यू आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर. दैट इज नॉट गुड फॉर द मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी सिनेरियो. Elevated credit deposit ratio reduces liquidity buffers, shock absorption capacity of the banks, and for credit sustainability, sustained divergence between credit and deposit growth is unsustainable. एक तरफ आपका credit growth बढ़ता जा रहा है और deposit growth कम होता जा रहा है. That is not a sustainable scenario for an economy. This is what you need to remember. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया पॉइंट, समझ आ गया. यहां तक किसी को कोई डाउट है तो पूछ लो. Any doubt till this point you may ask please. अगली न्यूज काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है और अगली न्यूज डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली रिलेटेड भी है पीआईबी से, तो कोई बात नहीं, वो न्यूज मैं अपनी ही कवर करूंगा जो मेरे फाइनेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट है, और ऑब्वियसली पीआईबी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से तो मनीष सर कवर करेंगे ही करेंगे, बस मैंने थोड़ा सा उसका पार्ट इंक्लूड किया. लेट्स ट्राई टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन. क्या हुआ, वेयर इज द क्वेश्चन? Let's try to solve a question. Please pay attention. Question कहता है, with reference to the rising credit deposit ratio in India's banking system, consider the following statement. A rising credit deposit ratio indicates higher proportion of deposits being deployed as loan, reducing liquidity buffer. Say yes or no. Yes sir, absolutely correct. A persistently high credit deposit ratio can weaken the effectiveness of monetary policy transmission. बिल्कुल सही है. Slower deposit growth relative to credit expansion is a structural driver of current elevated credit deposit ratio. देखो, इससे credit deposit ratio बढ़ेगा, that is true, but that is not the correct reason this time. But इस केस में क्या है, slower deposit growth relative to credit expansion, तो credit expansion ज्यादा थी, या ये कहो कि growth rate in credit ज्यादा था in terms of deposit. This is correct. High credit deposit ratio necessarily implies डिटोरिएशन इन एसेट क्वालिटी. अगर क्रेडिट टू डिपॉजिट रेशियो हाई होगा, इट विल नेसेसरली इंप्लाइज डिटोरिएशन इन एसेट क्वालिटी. दैट इज नॉट ट्रू. दैट इज नॉट ट्रू. ऐसा थोड़ी ना कि अगर आपका क्रेडिट टू डिपॉजिट रेशियो हाई है उससे आपकी एसेट क्वालिटी डिटोरिएट होगी. तो डिपेंड करेगा ना कि आपने लोन दिया कैसा. एंड एलिवेटेड क्रेडिट टू डिपॉजिट रेशियो में इंक्रीज बैंक्स रिलायंस ऑन सेंट्रल बैंक लिक्विडिटी ऑपरेशन. ऑब्वियसली, क्योंकि आपके पास अगर पैसा कम है तो आपका डिपेंडेंसी जो है, it will increase on RBI for the liquidity part. So answer is going to be 1, 2, 3 and 5. Got it guys? Last news of the evening. The last news talks about the New India World Bank Group Country Partnership Framework. So recently, World Bank Group Country Partnership Framework has been announced recently. And in this announcement, it has been said that World Bank will be investing 8 to 10 billion dollars every year. 8 to 10 billion dollars every year in India from 2026 to 2031. अगर आप फिगर वाइज सोचोगे तो फिगर्स में तो यही क्वेश्चन आएगा, इसके अलावा कोई और क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू डेटा, रिलेटेड टू फिगर नहीं आ सकता. लेकिन इफ यू टेक इन दिस मैनर कि सर इसका इंपैक्ट, इसके बेसिस पे अगर कोई स्टेटमेंट बेस्ड क्वेश्चन आ गया तो क्या क्या चीजें पता होनी चाहिए, वो मैं आपको जल्दी से बता देता हूं. आज की डेट में इंडिया इज इन अ क्रिटिकल डेमोग्राफिक एंड इकोनॉमिक जंक्चर वेयर 12 million new entrants joining the workforce every year. So we have around 12 million. That means 12 into 10 to the power 6, which means 1.2 crore workforce, or I would say labor force is joining the total labor force every year, जिसकी वजह से unemployment rates are increasing, dependency on new employment regimes is increasing. So the country faces two challenges. First challenge, absorbing large and youthful labor force. Second is sustaining high, inclusive and employment intensive growth. India में growth is good. In last 4 years, India is one of the fastest growing economy of the world. That is not a challenge, but the challenge is growth हो रही है, but उस level पे नहीं हो रही, या आप ये कहो growth हो रही है लेकिन उसके corresponding level पे employment increase नहीं हो रही, जिसकी वजह से we cannot say that India is witnessing jobless growth, but हाँ, it is somewhat close to the same statement which I just gave. So World Bank Group, a long-standing development partner of India, has announced 5-year investment plan under the country partnership framework, where bank will commit $8 to $10 billion annually from 2026 to 2031, marking a significant scale up from their earlier engagement cycles as well as strong confidence in the India's macroeconomic conditions. ये जो CPF है, CPF is basically designed not merely as a financing agreement, but it is a development strategy which is aligned with India's long-term national goals. And keeping the long-term national goals, its core objectives हैं employment-centric growth, alignment to achieve the title of developed economy by 2047, private sector led job creation. So that means the dependency on government sector should not be high. Private sector should increase the job creation. And finally, institutional and governance reforms are need to be taken. So World Bank CPF for India adopts multi-pronged and integrated approach reflecting global best practices. जहां पे पहला है blended development model. What is blended development model? Public investment in infrastructure and social sector, private and capital mobilization using risk sharing instruments, guarantees as well as credit enhancement mechanism. तो उन्होंने कहा गवर्नमेंट को तो लोन दे देंगे भाई, जहां पे गवर्नमेंट के जो भी प्रोजेक्ट है इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सोशल सेक्टर प्रोजेक्ट्स वहां पे डायरेक्ट पैसा लगा देंगे, और जो आपका प्राइवेट सेक्टर है उन्हें हम फंड्स देंगे with the help of risk sharing instruments, guarantees or credit enhancement mechanism. Second is investment in physical and human capital. Physical infrastructure, that is transport, energy, urban system. You might have watched Manish sir's budget session where he has mentioned very clearly that the highest fund allocation this year is to the transportation rather than defense ministry. पहली बार ऐसा हुआ पिछले कुछ सालों में. Human infrastructure such as healthcare, skills, education, workforce readiness will be the other area where the investment is going to be done. And third is business environment and reforms agendas, where these funds, these investments will improve ease of doing business, reduce regulatory friction, and it will enhance investor confidence in India. Priority sector for employment generation, please pay attention: infrastructure and energy, agribusiness and rural value chains, healthcare, tourism, value-added manufacturing are the areas जिसको आप याद रखना. For example, if anybody asks you which are the areas which have been targeted by World Bank, keeping in mind the employment generation, infrastructure, energy, agribusiness and rural value chains, healthcare, tourism, value-added manufacturing. Expected impact क्या होगा सर? इसकी वजह से employment growth होगी, economic growth होगी, GDP बढ़ेगी, and there will be increase in private investment. It will reduce financial burden on the government, and it will enhance multilateral development banks, as it will result in, or it will enhance the role of multilateral development banks as catalytic financiers in the country or in the day-to-day operations. अब मैंने एक नया इनिशिएटिव लिया है, that is connecting dots. अब connecting dots में मैं बताना क्या चाह रहा हूँ, इस न्यूज के साथ क्या क्या चीजें और पूछी जा सकती हैं, जैसे कि लिंक विद इंडियाज डोमेस्टिक पॉलिसी फ्रेमवर्क, विकसित भारत 2047 लॉन्ग टर्म डेवलपमेंट विजन which will be fulfilled with the help of national infrastructure pipeline, गति शक्ति, स्किल इंडिया एंड हेल्थ केयर एक्सपेंशन. अगला पॉइंट है global context. Many developing economies, they face jobless growth. In order to avoid this situation for India, this tie-up has been done. Third is complementary with other multilaterals. So this is not only World Bank, Asian Development Bank and New Development Bank will also be tamed in such a manner that they will come in front to help the nation, to support the nation, to invest in India on the same grounds. Last point, what is India's position in World Bank Group? India is the largest client का मतलब largest borrower from the World Bank. As per one of the bank under the World Bank Group, that is IBRD, $20 billion have been invested across 79 projects. IFSC has invested around 16.72 billion in 174 projects. MEGA guarantee increasing used to de-risk private investment. ठीक है, I hope आपको पता होगा World Bank Group में we have how many banks are there in World Bank Group, guys? Or World Bank comprises of how many institutions so that it can be termed as World Bank Group? Any idea? 2 मिनट बात करते हैं, फिर we'll conclude. First one is IBRD, that is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Then we have International Development Association. Then we have International Finance Corporation. Then we have Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. And lastly, we have International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. तो इस पे अगर मैं आपको लिख दूं तो ये पे यहाँ पे होगा IBRD, जहां से वर्ल्ड बैंक की शुरुआत हुई. Then we have IDA, then we have IFSC, then we have MIGA. IDA stands for International Development Association, IFC International Finance Corporation, IBRD International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and the last we have is MIGA, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, and after MIGA we have ICSID, that is International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. ठीक है जी, याद रख लेना, कहीं कोई पूछे तो आंसर कर देना. क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करो. With reference to the World Bank's Country Partnership Framework for India 2026-2031, consider the following statements. The CPF represents a shift from short-term project financing towards long-term strategic development engagement. Is it true? Employment generation is central to CPF due to India's large annual workforce addition. The framework relies exclusively on public sector investment to avoid risk. Risk management instruments are used to mobilize private investment alongside public spending. CPF aligns with India's long-term goal to achieve the status of developed economy by 2047. Developed economy by 2047. तो इसमें अगर मुझसे कोई पूछेगा क्या क्या statements correct हैं, so I would say CPF represents a shift from short-term projects. That is true. Employment generation is central to CPF due to India's large annual workforce addition. India में large annual workforce addition है, that is true. वही एक center point है, that is true. Framework relies exclusively on public sector. No, it relies on both. Risk management instruments are used to mobilize private investment along with public spending. That is true. CPF aligns with India's long-term vision. That is true. तो उसके बेसिस पे अगर हम देखें तो आंसर फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन इज ए ऑप्शन. मजा आया? क्लियर हुआ पॉइंट? इफ यू हैवंट हिट द लाइक बटन, डू हिट द लाइक सेशन, डू हिट द लाइक बटन. एंड इफ यू थिंक कि सर आज कोई ऐसी न्यूज़ नहीं थी जिसपे हमने बहुत डिटेल में बात की हो, बहुत उसके कॉन्सेप्ट्स डिस्कस किए हो, तो सारे दिन एक जैसे नहीं हो सकते. और आज का जो सेशन था उसमें मैं एक और चीज़ आपको दिखाना चाहता था, वो ये कि ये नहीं है कि इस सेशन में सिर्फ और सिर्फ RBI, SEBI, IRDAI के नोटिफिकेशन सर्कुलर्स ही डिस्कस होंगे, बल्कि जो जनरल फाइनेंस न्यूज़ है वो भी डिस्कस होंगी. एंड इफ आई फील कि RBI के सर्कुलर्स जो हैं वो ज़्यादा डिटेल में यहाँ कवर नहीं हो पा रहे, देन डोंट वरी, वी हैव ऑलरेडी अलाइंड द RBI सर्कुलर सेशंस फॉर यू विच विल बी कमिंग अप लाइव फ्रॉम द मंथ ऑफ फेब्रुअरी इटसेल्फ. मंथली एक होगा या मंथली 2 सेशंस होंगे विच आई एम प्लानिंग फॉर RBI सर्कुलर्स, तो वो भी आपके लिए एक प्लस पॉइंट हो जाएगा. ठीक है जी. If you have enjoyed the session, give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestion regarding this particular session or any suggestion regarding the coverage of the content or any feedback, do share your feedback in the comment section. SPD net worth क्या है ये? मतलब मैं तो समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ आप पूछना क्या चाह रहे हो. अब कमेंट सेक्शन में लिखना, I'll reply in the comment section only. Guys, take the screenshot. First one. Take the screenshot. First question is now on your screen. This is the homework question. If you'll not be replying in the comment section, I won't be discussing the homework question from next class onwards. देख लेना. So will CGAS be one of the factors to be considered in case of the ratio? Not directly, but yes, indirect impact तो है ही. जैसे indirect impact तो है for sure. ठीक है. दीपक, आप प्लीज अपना क्वेश्चन डिटेल में कमेंट सेक्शन में लिखिएगा. I will be sharing the answer on the same. The revision pattern would be same for economic survey and budget reports 24. Yes, exactly the same. तो मुझे पहली बार फाइनेंस समझ आया. Thank you so much. If you are enjoying the session, thank you. Take the screenshot for the next question. 1 second. टेक द स्क्रीनशॉट फॉर द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ये आपका सेकंड क्वेश्चन है. 2 क्वेश्चंस आपके पास होमवर्क के फॉर्मेट में है. स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो, आंसर दे देना. ओके, I'll do that, Weber. I'll do that. Got it? Okay. Chalo. So that will be all, guys. We'll catch you in the next session. Bye-bye. Take care. You can download the PDF from the Telegram channel. बहुत जल्द we are going to come up with a common Telegram channel for exaMnorM. तो जैसे वो चैनल बन जाएगा, all the PDFs of all the classes which are happening on this platform, we will have only one dedicated Telegram channel only. तो आपको शिफ्ट नहीं करना पड़ेगा कभी मेरे चैनल पे या मनीष सर के चैनल पे. वी आर कंबाइनिंग इनटू वन चैनल. तो उसमें आपकी ये प्रॉब्लम रिजॉल्व हो जाएगी. तब तक जब तक हम ये बनेगा तब तक यू कैन फॉलो the channel in order to download the PDF. ठीक है. Bye bye, take care, good luck, God bless you all, see you soon, bye bye.